Mark, I'd just like to ask you about obviously being a Doctor Who fan growing up. You must feel like you're kind of living the dream as a young boy, and now actually writing and obviously acting on this series as well.
Yeah, well, I am. Yes, I'm completely living the dream.
Yeah.
I pinch myself often, but that's another story. Yeah, it's incredible, really. I often have to, take a step back because it's so extraordinary to be part of it. In any case, but to be part of it, of such a fantastically successful reinvention. A couple of years ago, actually, I was taking my dog for a walk in the park, and I saw these two kids walking past. One of them dressed almost exactly like me by 1977, because fashion is cyclical.
Yeah, yeah.
Brown glasses, parka. And I thought, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I just, as they walked past me, I heard him say to his friend, "Do you think there could ever be a 10 Doctors?" Yeah.
What are your earliest memories of science fiction growing up as a boy, as well as Doctor Who?
As well as Doctor Who, oh well, I mean, it was because it was the 70s. Everything was vaguely supernatural or sci-fi based, as you know, in those days. Most kids' shows were spooky. My very first memory is TV memory is Doctor Who, which is the Autons in the shop window in John Pertwee's first story. That's my first one. But yeah, I mean, there were loads of things at the time. Star Trek, obviously. Lots of odd sort of play for today's with a sort of sci-fi bent. And anything. I mean, I was just obsessed with horror and supernatural. I used to watch anything vaguely connected. Will Hay films, in case there was a ghost.
Will Hay.
Yeah.
Why do you think the current series is so popular, bringing it to the younger generation, now a new generation, as well as ours, going back to the 70s and 80s?
I think it's because it's bold. Russell's reinvention from the start was bold. It was actually a lot bolder than anyone expected it to be. By casting someone like Chris Eccleston straight away, by putting it in that much more urban environment, when people were probably immediately expecting it to be set in outer space, he kept it very, very solid and much more real, because I think he wanted to ground it from the start in that way. And that's why it didn't in any way rely on anyone's knowledge of it before. So if you were a kid, sat down for the first time, you watched it, you would go, "This is my show." And then you turn over your shoulder and say, and then wise dad would go, "Of course, I remember when the Cybermen went down the sewers like my brother used to do." And it works on every level in that sense.
It was a hide behind the sofa thing when we were kids, wasn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, when I did my first one for Chris Eccleston, I had to go on Radio 4 on PM, because there'd been complaints, and Eddie Mayer said to me, "How do you feel about this?" I said, "It's the happiest day of my life," because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to scare kids. That's what it's all about.
Now, a totally different part of your, in a different genre, a different part of your career is obviously comedy. How did you get involved in the first place with the League of Gentlemen, and what memories does that evoke for you now, going back to those days?
Well, we met all went to college really, and we were very lucky in that stand-up comedy had been like the dominant form of comedy on live for a long time, and then character comedy was sort of coming back in. So our sketch show, for want of a better word, which we did live, then became the thing to do. And yeah, we were together for 12 years, and we want to do something again. Stephen Reese is doing Psychoville now, and it was fabulous time. It just seems frighteningly long. I can't tell you how many people now say, "I loved your show when I was a kid." I go,
does that make you feel old?
To me, it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah. You're obviously involved with establishing an old English character as well, Sherlock Holmes, another one that's been brought up to date. How do you get involved in that, and what do you think of the new re-establishment of that character in modern society now for the younger generation?
Well, it's a similar thing. It's we did boldly. Steve Moffat and I adore Sherlock Holmes, always have, and we just had this idea to update it in order to go back to the essence of the original characters and stories. And obviously it's worked, because people love it. We're just about to finish the second series.
Wow.
And yeah, it's been amazing, thrilling response to it. And actually, again, to feel that it's for a new audience as well as the old audience. It's the best possible outcome, really.